Hi all, today's video I'm going to show you how to remove the fuel tank from a Mk4 Mondeo. The one I've got in front of me today is a Titanium Export TDCi. This is the 2.2 TDCi, so the 200 horsepower one. I'm pretty sure the fuel tanks are basically the same. I don't think Ford would redesign it just for every model. I'm going to show you where to start. Now, basically the tools required to do this, there's not many. It is a tricky job though, so I wouldn't recommend doing it on your drive. If I could, I'd probably go and borrow a ramp or something, because it would make life much easier, but I've done it on my drive, so I'm going to show you how to do it. So first things first, obviously disconnect the battery. We are playing around with the fuel, so it's just worthwhile just doing that as a precaution more than anything else. And then it's getting the car into a position where you can do something. So you can see here I've got the rear of the car up in the air. So basically how I've done that is I've elevated the rear, so I jacked it up on the cross member here, and then I've used axle stands, and you can see I've got the fuel tank down at the moment, but I'll get to that in a second. Okay, so first things first, under here to the back of the car, this green connector here, you'll need to unplug this if you're removing the tank, as this is the wiring, as I show you across the top. This is the wiring that goes to the fuel sender. Now, the reason I've got the tank off of this car is because the fuel sender has gone wrong. So it's showing an inaccurate fuel reading in the car, so it's dropping to 0, going back up to half and back down again. So it's quite irritating. So I just thought it was about time I did something with it. Right, first off, the first thing that we'll need removing is the guard. Now ultimately, to do this job really properly, you'd probably want to remove the exhaust system. I've managed to do it by going around the exhaust system, but it does make life a little complicated. So the tools for doing this, you'll literally need a 10mm spanner, and you'll need a T30 to undo the bolts off it. That sits around the exhaust here, so you can see where I've removed it. So it's completely gone. So that would sit there, and that then you'll then be able to see the brackets that hold on the fuel tank itself. And there's only 4 bolts. So here's the bracket, and you've got one side, one the other side. So 13mm bolts. Now what I done was stuck a jack underneath this side, so to the right hand side, so driver's side of the car. If you're in America, the passenger side of the car. And taken off the shorter bracket from, you see my finger, from this side. Now the exhaust system does hold the tank up over that side, which was quite handy. And then the last thing you'll need to do is get a jack underneath it, as I said, and then as you start to remove it, the fuel filler neck will need to be undone, because that will hold the tank up. Now, the fuel filler, you see I've got a rag in the hole at the moment. Now I basically drained the fuel out of this, but as soon as you release that and start lowering the tank, fuel will come out of this. So you want to try and run your tank as low as you possibly can before you attempt this job, or if, like me, you've got half a tank of fuel, you'll need a lot of receptacles to catch the fuel in. Now I've got an oil drain tray, so I've drained it into an oil drain tray and then used other buckets afterwards. Just remember to use a muslin cloth or something before you put the fuel back in the tank, just to get rid of all those bits of dirt and what have you. And ultimately, because you're moving around the fuel tank, you'll basically dislodge all the sludge from the bottom of the tank. What I'd also recommend is that give it 500 miles and then whack a new diesel filter into it too. Okay, so basically in terms of the job, so you can see here, excuse me, I'm kind of laying underneath the car. So this fuel tank is now ready to come out. So I've drained the fuel, the brackets are off. All I need to do now is disconnect the wiring block from up here, and then I can wiggle the tank out and pull it out to the side of the car, so that it will come out between the 2 wheels. Basically, you can see where my jack is. So it will come out there, and then I can make the repair to the car. So I've got a new fuel sender to go in this. And then it's the job in reverse. So wedge the jack underneath it. The tank's nice and light now, there's no fuel in it. I mean, literally it's only plastic, so there's not too much to it. And it's a relatively simple job, so it's just fiddly. And if you have got fuel in it, I'd certainly recommend using a ramp and a transmission jack. It just make life so much easier. Ford reckons this job will take an hour and a half for complete removal and install, and I can see why. If you're on a ramp, you can. If you're doing it on the ground, allow yourself a good couple of hours, You know, it took me a good 15-20 minutes just to get the guard off, just purely for the fact that I didn't want to remove the exhaust system. So it can be done. Just take your time, have a cup of tea, and go through it well. I hope the video helps. Cheers, bye.